Cardano sees massive buying pressure as crypto markets continue to navigate through this dip. What is next for ADA on the charts? We're going to look at every angle in this video. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you for coming by. This is Cardano on the charts. A couple things I want to talk about, probably very fundamentally important. I was waiting to do a video for Cardano before we get some type of move because it's been very kind of sideways consolidating. And I was like, you know what? Instead of waiting, let's look at targets in this video. We're going to look at targets in the short term, but let's also talk about fundamentally the opportunity at hand. I just retweeted this tweet. This is from Goose of Crypto, one of the founders of ADA Handle, and he made a great tweet. It is, I mean, I could probably read this and end the video. 2022 will be the year of accumulation, which it is. It really is. So far, it is a year of accumulation. January was a month of accumulation, but for Cardano, it's also the year of optimization, scalability. But he goes on. This is where the builders set themselves up for the next decade if they do it right. Get building and get accumulating. I could end the video right now. Everyone, I'm telling you, from my years in crypto, from my years as an entrepreneur, trying things, building things, sometimes failing along the way, grinding against the pressure, grinding against the challenges, this is the key. Build and accumulate. And I'm not saying go build a company or something. You don't have to do that. But when we say build and accumulate, even from a mental perspective, do it against the pressure. Have a positive mindset against the negativity that is at hand. I'm telling you, crypto, Twitter, crypto, YouTube, the negative comment ratio is so high right now. The engagement is so low. This is, from a data perspective, a social data perspective, this is a bottom signal. I'm not saying the bottom is definitely in. We're going to talk about targets to the downside, but I'm just telling you this historically is when we've entered opportunity zone. This is what I've seen as just personally a content creator talking about crypto over the years. Let's start before we dig into the charts. This is from cryptobriefing.com. Cardano is under significant buying pressure. And a piece of this says on-chain data from Sentiment shows that the number of addresses holding between 10,000 and 1 million ADA has increased by 15,000% since December 15th, 2021. That's a month and a half of doing this video. Roughly 3,900 sizable wallets have been created since then, signaling a spike in interest among retail investors. The significant increase in buy orders has helped Cardano create a stable support wall. This model, the in and out of the money around price model, shows that more than 340,000 addresses have previously acquired 7.65 billion ADA at a price of around $1. $1 showing significant support for Cardano. We can zoom in real quick on a weekly chart and we can kind of we can see that very briefly on the weekly. Even the last few weeks, these wicks in that dollar range. We can go back and we see dollar support all the way back here in the last year. I want to say this before we talk about the more zoomed in charts. Bitcoin oftentimes has put in similar data, right? On-chain metrics just signaling very bullish behavior across the protocol. The charts look like they're oversold. They're bottoming out. Potentially Bitcoin at a really huge support area. Everybody's convinced it's the bottom. And then there's just that last capitulation, that last huge drop in price before it really is the bottom. Be prepared for a scenario like that, in particular with Cardano. For me, I would really enjoy seeing a dollar be support and Cardano goes to the upside. It almost just seems too good to be true, though. It really does. It's just, if that story plays out, that would be beautiful on the charts. It would be wow. It would be incredible on the charts to see that dollar support hold. But in my mind, and I feel like in my videos, I talk about downside probably more than upside. As bullish as I am, as much as we know how high Cardano can go, I like being prepared for downside. So the dollar falling, the dollar support falling is something I just think we should be mindful of. Going real quick to the monthly, you want to point something out. This is the monthly. Look at the red month after red, 5 red months in a row. And right now it's a pretty new month, right? 26 days of this monthly candle here. Support here at the 20-month moving average is interesting. But just note, historically, Cardano, when it sees consecutive red months, that's really leading into a bottom of some sort, and of important sorts, because this is the macro chart. And here we are right now. The fear, just all-time high. The engagement, all-time low. The negativity, all-time high. All of these things coming together is a very important data that we should talk about outside of just charts and patterns and stuff like that, and indicators. Because we know in the macro perspective, this is the upside potential. Cardano is so undervalued right now, sitting at around dollar range. A $15 Cardano, $500 billion market cap. A $31 Cardano is a $1 trillion market cap. Both very attainable for this top blockchain that's just starting, just growing. 2022, a huge year for Cardano. Let's start digging into the charts a little bit. One thing to be aware of is the 20-week moving average, getting ready to cross below that 50-week moving average. Not the most bullish looking picture, but again, this is on a macro uptrend necessary, right? You're not going to just have this 20-day floating above the 20-week floating above the 50-week forever. We're going to get these consolidations for continued uptrend. So this could go down further. We know targets to the downside right now on these zoomed out charts. Rising broadening wedge that we've been talking about. Target to the downside, 80 cents. We're getting closer and closer to it. One move away from that, really. Out of this pattern we've been tracking, we have a 50-cent target to the downside. Getting closer and closer to that. So be ready for those things. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, everybody. I'm just sharing the data with you so we can be prepared. If you're a long-term thinker with Cardano, that's really my goal. Be prepared. Figure out when I want to accumulate. Figure out when you want to accumulate. Figure out your method, your strategy. We're all different. We're all in completely different situations. We all have completely different goals. But this is data. If you really start visualizing upside and downside targets, you're so ready. And there's nothing even to really even worry about in terms of whatever it does next. Obviously, we enjoy the moves to the upside. We want to see it, but we're ready when those moves happen to the downside, especially if you're looking to accumulate dips. That's the weekly chart. If we go over here to the daily chart, we start seeing, all right, what is Cardano going up against here? Still below that 20-day moving average in green. We're below that 50-day moving average in blue, which is confluent with that lower trend line of that pattern we were just looking at, this lower trend line. And that lower trend line goes all the way back to last February, almost a year long, just about a year long at this point. And it's huge resistance, all confluent resistance right there in the $1.25 to $1.30 range. And we start saying, okay, well, can Cardano do it? Let's explore what that looks like at this point. We're going to look at 6-hour pattern that could potentially set up the case for Cardano to do that. We have the bullish divergence here on the daily chart, higher highs here, higher lows on the RSI, slower moving momentum oscillator that we see here in the middle of the screen. Uptrend on the stock RSI. We have this MACD line getting ready to cross the signal line here on the MACD. There's a potential momentum shift. So that case for the dollar support that we just looked at in this article is very, very there, very true, very possible. And then we take all of that and we go, okay, where's Cardano right now? What can we watch in the very short term? We go to a 6-hour, and this is the consolidation that we've seen for Cardano since January 18th. Really, we should say this swing high January 17th to swing low January 22nd. 5 days of consolidation, and then finally structure. It is symmetrical triangle. You can chart it in white, these white lines. Those are candle closes. You could use a wicks, which I like doing. I enjoy doing that. I feel like it gives a better picture of just where true support was, true pressure was, and true resistance was. It tells that story, paints the story better in my view, and that's the yellow symmetrical triangle. Cardano kind of towards the upper trend line right now. We have a breakout target to the $1.35 to $1.40 range. Why is that important? We just looked at the daily resistance, and what did we have? All of that confluent resistance right around $1.25 to $1.30, right? So if Cardano's hitting that 6-hour target to the upside, we're above. Cardano would be above this target. It will be back in this pattern, and then we'd be looking for support above the 50-day, the 20-day. That's the confirmation we're looking for. Not only breaking above it, but seeing support above it, which is something we haven't seen in the past. We did not see support right there. We did not see support all the way back here. We want to get the break above and the support above. And it starts here on the 6 hour. That could be the case for it. The breakout to the upside. Notice the breakout to the downside, 80 to 85 cent range. That could be the case for Cardano to hit that 80 cent target that we just talked about over here on the weekly chart, right? That rising, broadening wedge that we just talked about in here in blue. So this is everything coming together, everybody. We're tracking it on the 6 hour. It looks like Cardano's getting close to some type of move, whether it's to the upside or downside. We wait, we see. I'm not here to predict or tell you what's going to happen. That is impossible. No YouTuber can tell you that. No technical analyst can tell you that. But we're watching it. We're tracking it. I can just say that I think Cardano is one of the strongest opportunities in crypto right now. Not only ADA itself, but the ecosystem being built on it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Happy to get this data out there so we can track it now. We can see what happens, and we'll do updates as things progress. Hit the subscribe and like and comment below and let me know your thoughts about ADA and the markets in general. I appreciate you. Have an awesome night. God bless.